There we go. How about that? Maybe that'll work. You hit the right button perhaps, and, you actually are a part of something that you're talking about. Morning, Niall. Morning, Ricky. Welcome to another round of Soccer's Morning Show. Soccer Down Here, provided John hits the right buttons. It is on a couple minutes early because we've got to catch up with head coach Steve Cook of Atlanta United 2 at 11 o'clock offline to get ready for Atlanta United 2, Philadelphia Union 2 on Friday night. So that's why we're here early. And, Will, it is Al Ittihad, and it is a done deal. Already undergoing his medical after accepting a 2-year deal last night worth, according to Ben Jacobs, €100 million a season, also option of a third year in the contract. So Bart Keeler is joining us with his thoughts on stuff. That's the official term in hour number 2, because we've got national team stuff to talk about. We've got reffing down here to talk about, and we've got players jumping to Saudi Arabia to talk about. But to be perfectly honest, as we go here, I know that there's probably just one thing in people's minds.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
I'm guessing it's dude, that Messi guy. And yes, Bam, happy opening day of the test between Australia and India in a one-off. So you've got national team stuff. We got players moving. But probably the biggest thing to get into, in addition to Atlanta United playing in Five Stripes After Dark at 10:39 Eastern Time. And so that means that the pregame show is on 92.9 at 10 o'clock. And it will probably be something akin to an abbreviated postgame show after, because they got to catch a flight and get back to this side of the planet. So we'll talk about that. Yeah, there's nothing going on. But the biggest thing to get into this morning, right now, is Messi. And it speaks to the larger topic that we got into yesterday with the possibility, and this is again, follow your sources. Watch them. Check your numbers. This is a check your sources situation. If a guy with 196 followers is saying it's a done deal, that it's going to happen in the next couple of days, be careful. There are heavy hitters out there who are saying things one way or another. And then they're also saying that it's a done deal. He's going back to Barca. He's going to Inter Miami. He's going to Saudi Arabia. All of this stuff is in play. All of this ish is in play from all of the sources that we always reference. So in a situation like this, please look at the number of followers when you sit there and you're doing your Lionel Messi update and you're hitting refresh. Done deal. How many followers does the guy have on Twitter? Or does the individual have on Twitter? 212? No, we better keep an eye on that. It has even gotten to the point, and we'll look at this too, that they have suspended, and of course this also depends on the second market ticket broker, the open market, when it comes to home matches. So let's do a bit of a search, shall we? All right. So we're searching Inter Miami on the most well-known, reputable secondary ticket market purchase element that's around. All right. So let's just say things happen. We go late into July. Let's go past Leagues Cup, and let's get into what we're staring at, say, in Major League Soccer a little later, late August. You go to Inter Miami Charlotte FC August 20 at DRVPNK. It is now referencing on sale date and time are in the works. Please check back. Inter Miami and Nashville August 30. On sale date and time are in the works. Please check back. They don't even give you a schematic of the stadium anymore. It's listed at DRVPNK, but they don't even give you a schematic of the stadium. So let's go to a secondary one. Let's go to another open market ticket individual folk. And they're the ones that are real geeks about their seats. So let's see what we got here. All right, so we go past the Gold Cup. We go past July. So let's start with, once again, Charlotte at DRVPNK. SeatGeek is rather confident. They're rather confident. They've got stuff available at DRVPNK. So if you are a geek about your seats, probably can go there and look at possibly the secondary market. Something that. So if you're a geek about your seats, that's probably the place to go, because right now the number one seller of tickets with the big surcharges and everything, they pulled them off. They have pulled them off of the site. We'll have more when we know more. So that they're not even hedging bets. We're just pulling everything off. We're pulling everything off the board. Everything off the board. But once again, what this does is, we talked about it yesterday, and it reinforces what we talked about yesterday. Yeah, Tafka, sorry. We started early because of hard out at 11 o'clock, because we got to get ready for Atlanta United 2 and Philadelphia Union 2. Our coaches' conference calls right at 11, so that's why we started 5 minutes early. You haven't missed a whole lot. So secondary market should be interesting when it comes to this particular individual and his possible impact. See, even possible impact, we don't even have a here we go yet. And the number one secondary ticket market seller with their large surcharges and fees, they're not even venturing tickets out into the marketplace starting in August at the venue in Fort Lauderdale. The Geek of Seats is. So keep an eye on that. And they're still fairly inexpensive. But it raises the issue of the larger problem. All right. So here is what our friends at The Athletic are saying is part and parcel to attracting this individual to playing in Major League Soccer. MLS and Apple have discussed offering Messi a share of the revenue generated by new subscribers to Season Pass. Both sides view his potential involvement in MLS as a boon. I would hope so. Tuesday, Apple revealed that a 4-part docuseries chronicling Messi's 5 World Cup appearances would start streaming on Apple TV+. Adidas, which is one of MLS's largest corporate sponsors, has prepared its own potential arrangement to entice Messi to the United States. Messi's being offered a profit-sharing agreement, which would involve the player receiving a cut of any increase in Adidas's profits resulting from his involvement in Major League Soccer. Adidas has partnered with MLS since the league's inception in 1996. The two sides renewed their partnership early this year, signing a 6-year, $830 million extension that runs through 2030. The German manufacturer supplies all kits to 29 MLS teams and also designs the league's official match ball and is the league's official footwear sponsor. Messi's had a long-standing relationship with Adidas starting back in 2006, signing a lifetime deal back in 2017. Sources across the league who've been briefed. I love the nebulous nature of saying that you talk to somebody that can't go on the record. Sources across the league have been briefed on confidence. One source classified at 50-50. Another said even Inter Miami team execs are split on whether they think it'll happen. Negotiations are being led by the Moss brothers. Messi's deal likely would include the option to purchase a percentage of an MLS team upon the end of his time as a player in Major League Soccer. That would at least resemble the Beckham deal, which gave him the option to purchase an MLS expansion team for $25 million. That turned into Inter Miami. Club's work to build up connections with Messi even has links to Barca. Miami's chief business officer, Javier Asensi, former Barcelona chief commercial officer, member of the Spanish club's executive board. Possibility that the new head coach could be Tata Martino. Of course, that's, he's been out of a job since leaving his post with El Tri back in December. Tata's name is being bandied about. Once again, there's a vacancy there with Phil Neville. So you have all of these different machinations in play for a team that is at the bottom of the Eastern Conference. You brought in Higuain and Matuidi, but you chased after CR38, Hamas, Falcao, Griezmann, Verratti, Cavani, Suarez, Busquets. At least it's been rumored that you had. So you have all of that in play. But once again, what this does is that you have all of this stuff that you have to do. You've got to be creative to bring in a player like Lionel Messi. And you should have to be less creative if you're Major League Soccer. You should have to be less creative than you're apparently trying to be to attract this individual. Because of the constraints that you currently have on yourself when it comes to attracting talent and paying talent. I would have anticipated that something akin to the Beckham rule would have been made, the Messi rule. Maybe you add that fourth DP, the Larry Bird exception when it comes to salaries. Something in that vein where if you have such a transcendent player like Lionel Messi, that you don't have to sit there and go as the tent posts of your deal going to your corporate sponsors and saying, hey, you want a piece of the action? You want a piece of the action here? Great. You want a piece of the action on TV? Great. You want a piece of the action in apparel? Great. You want a piece of the action here? Cool. You want to be a part owner when you're done? I get that. That's the Beckham rule. But there should be less constraints on salaries and on cap for situations like this. This, once again, shows the addressing of the issue that needs to be looked at by this league as it continues to go forward. 26 seasons, and the way that you have structured things has kept a lot of folks afloat. You have proved that you are stable. But now with the possibility, probability, I'm not going to say possibility because it's being floated out there, that Lionel Messi could come to Major League Soccer instead of sitting there and saying, okay, we'll shorten the margins a little bit. Look, if Xherdan Shaqiri is getting paid $8 million a year as a part of his deal as a DP, you ought to be able to pay Messi 15 and not have to think twice about it. 15, 20, whatever. But being able to do that and having a DP slot available, you would hope that you'd have to be less creative in a deal than what you're looking like you're having to do here. So that's the biggest thing for me in all of this. Once again, you got sources that are saying a bunch of different things. Bunch. I'm just going to go and check the latest. Fabrizio Romano went on CBS Sports. Barcelona situation is complicated. They can't offer a guarantee to Messi to be registered, and that's the biggest thing here with Barcelona. You got to be able to register him. And if you can't do that, then you're chasing shadows at that point. And that's what you're playing with here. Saudi Arabia, we talked about them this morning. They're throwing money, they don't care. Legitimately, they do not care. Do not care at all. That's why they initially offered 1.2 double extra large as a part of the deal. 1.2 double extra large to bring him in. And I know that family's going to be playing a lot into this. Saudi Arabia, they'll throw as much money as humanly possible at him. As an ambassador, like I said, I've always thought that would be where this gravitates. And the other aspect of this with Lionel Messi is the physical style of play, more physical, that he would experience in Major League Soccer than he would in the Saudi Pro League. Unless there's going to be that one dude that wants to make his mark. You know that here in Major League Soccer, there's going to be that guy that's going to want to sit there and try to go in on a hard tackle on Lionel Messi. You know there's going to be that guy that wants to do that. Style of play in the Saudi League, style of play in Ligue 1, less physical than it has been in other places. So you got to think about wear and tear on the body. And I'm guessing that this deal with Messi is probably going to be about a year and a half. If it does end up with Inter Miami, it's probably a year and a half deal. Finishes this year, does next year. Becomes some kind of an ambassador in 25. Maybe an option year for 25 if he's feeling up to it. Ambassadorial role, expansion team, ownership, whatever. So that's what you're staring at. Barca, who's got a boatload of problems and trying to register Messi, much less assign a contract to him. And that's what you're staring at. 7 minutes ago, Guillaume Balaguer has put out here, Messi has decided his destination is Inter Miami. Guillaume is a guy that you can sit there and say, okay, I know your numbers. 1 million followers, a lot of books, strong work. So that's what you're staring at. That's what you're staring at right now. I would give it the breaking news sounder, but I'm not so sure. We'll just go ahead and say Guillaume Balaguer, as of 7 minutes ago, has said Messi has decided his destination is Inter Miami. That's where we're staring at right now. Real Madrid has agreed to pay Borussia Dortmund in excess of 100 million euro for Jude Bellingham. So you've got Conte, you've got Bellingham on the move, and it looks like Lionel Messi's heading to Miami or to Fort Lauderdale. The other issues in all of this. Where are you going to play? Where are you going to play? Legitimately, you ain't playing in you ain't playing at Drive Pink unless you are going to jack up ticket prices like nobody's business. So if you want to get into the secondary ticket market, you better dive in right now. That's your public service announcement for the business aspect of your coffers. If you have some, it probably. Well, I don't know if it's the end of DRVP and K. I mean, you'll have the twos will play there, but what this does is it reinforces the business plan of trying to get the new stadium built. And you got to play. You've got to play some. I mean, do you play at Marlins Park? Do you play at Hard Rock? Is Hard Rock wide enough? All of these questions that you're staring at right now. Moss Brothers love having these kinds of questions that they've got to answer without question. So, Guillem Balaguer is saying Messi's decided he's going to Inter Miami. Jorge Messi came out of the meeting yesterday with Barcelona very pessimistic. You could see the frown on his face behind the sunglasses. It's just too many things too many hoops Barcelona has to sit there and figure out. So it appears from Guillem Balaguer that this is what we're staring at. Lionel Messi heading to Inter Miami. Miguel Rico with 50,000 followers. And like I said, this is how I'm gauging this kind of stuff. Miguel Rico is saying he's been informed Barca he will not return. Rejecting €1 billion to go to Saudi Arabia. Family-based idea. Remember, he has the high-rise condo in Miami. And everyone is referencing Guillem Balaguer right now. Everyone's referencing Guillem Balaguer and Miguel Rico. Rejecting the Al Hilal proposal. And it looks like he's heading this way. And Forecard, that's the question. What do you offer the man who has everything? You offer him pieces of the action. Because you can, and that's basically it. Apple and Adidas profit sharing. What you're doing is you're getting into the corporate side of Lionel Messi. Look at it this way. What did Nike do with Jordan? Nike put Jordan on a shoe. So what's Adidas going to do? Adidas, with this new aspect of possible, probable existence for Lionel Messi coming to Major League Soccer. Profit sharing with Adidas, and don't think that they ain't going to make a killing. Profit sharing with Apple, viewership, membership, and what Apple is betting on. What Apple is betting on is folks being interested in the Lionel Messi content, more subscribers, season pass, and that this year and a half, say, 2-year deal, what have you. And Parcel, that could be it too. What if he just was something different? It's like, I'm tired of chasing whatever, and I want to get closer to home. Yeah, it has well. And what he can do, Parzival, is turn Major League Soccer, eyes onto Major League Soccer that may not have been on them previously, outside of the United States and outside of this hemisphere. So Lionel Messi now gives Major League Soccer that opportunity. How does Major League Soccer take advantage of this opportunity? How do you capitalize on this if this is coming to pass? Ricky, dead last in the East. Yep. And that's what we're staring at. That's what we're staring at. So you're staring at secondary ticket markets. And if you believe in your secondary ticket markets, this might be the time to jump on it. So everyone right now staring at Guillaume Balaguer and his notification. Messi's decided it's Inter Miami. L'Equipe is floating the notion that he joins Inter Miami before being loaned to Barca. And see what happens there. Possible, who knows? But once again, this is the hook in all of this. Barca can't afford him, they'd have to register him. That's the stumbling block there. Apparently rejecting the €1 billion deal. And once again, Tafka, this is what we're talking about. How does Major League Soccer capitalize on this and go to that next stage? How do you do that? Literally, how do you do that? Profit sharing is what you can do right now. And well, yeah, and Parzival, this is the thing. We've talked about this, and it reinforces the conversations that we've had on this network for how long now? Parzival, do away with the salary cap. Coco, give me that CBA opt-out for the players once Messi arrives to Major League Soccer. Keep an eye on that, too. Tafka, make this not just about Messi, but the huge influx of big-time talent to coincide with it. Eyeballs are coming. Give them more than just the one player to watch. Ricky saw people joking that the match versus Miami is going to be $3,000 a ticket. I like the idea of the fourth DP. I like the idea of minimizing the salary cap. I would dispose of all of the Garber Bucks ideas, all of the AM that we have. Targeted allocation money, general allocation money. Add a fourth DP, work on your salary cap. Have a Larry Bird exception. And you will see who wants to engage. Knicks. Every other team should get a fourth DP if the big partners are subsidizing the stay, and Miami only gets 3. Well, we saw how it worked with 5. Sorry, did I say that out loud? Will, don't know. I don't think that. I don't know if anybody's going to be doing grass early, but I think that you have to keep an eye on venues and wear and tear. I think you do. Knicks is going to laugh when Messi misses the MLS playoffs both years he plays here. Salary floor, salary cap. Yep. Similar to where the National Hockey League is. Well, and Tafka, what you can always do, I know that you wanted to fix the sport. Add this to your your PhD paper that you're going to supply to the Discord. Do that. You look at the league once again. Look at the league. Cincinnati, I don't know if they're going to care. They would probably be a mid-cap team, or a mid-salary cap team, investing periodically. I don't think they're going to blow the roof off of anything. Nashville certainly won't. I don't think John Ingram's got to pay for a building first. Philly, they're going to do things their way. Academy from the bottom, and they're going to bring in players up from up top. That's what they're going to do. They will, once again, they will continue to invest in their academy, have all those players coming through, and then they'll bring in players, the 7-figure players. They'll do that as an addition. Robert Kraft will invest. The Haslams, I don't think they will. I think that they will continue to be that mid-level team. They're going to continue investing in the Browns. I don't think they're going to invest the same in crew. Atlanta United, they'll invest. You know that. DC, don't know. Wayne Rooney would like for them to. They brought in Benteke and Mateus Klick. So we'll see. Orlando, not sure that they will. Once again, they'll bring in that one or two players that would be like the $1 million investments. But I don't think that they're going to blow the roof off of their piggy bank. Charlotte Tepper, he to me is the intrigue here. Does he invest? Does he try to take that next step? Or does he just continue to do what he's been doing? Charlotte, for me, is an interesting test case. Joey Saputo is going to continue to work his relationships in Italy, and he's going to go back and forth with his multi-club model. Red Bulls are going to do things Red Bulls way. Toronto will spend money. We know that. NYCFC, they'll work through City Football Group. And they'll still be kind of at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to bringing in talent. They're going to be feeding talent to other places inside CFG. Just ask about Tati Castellanos. Fire are an interesting case. What does Joe Mansueto want to do, especially with the stadium situation? What does he want to do? So in the East, the ones I'm staring at that are interesting, outside of the ones we know who will invest, the ones who will have to pivot, insert Ross Geller here. New England, Columbus, Charlotte, Chicago. I'm taking Miami out of the equation because we're operating under the notion at the moment that Lionel Messi is coming. So there are 4 teams I have questions about. The others were pretty much locked in and figured out. In the West, St. Louis, they're going to do things Red Bullsian. They're going to do things their way. Seattle, they'll find their larger investments, but they still want to work with the academy. We'll have Nico Moreno on tomorrow morning at 10:30 to discuss. LAFC, they'll invest. Just ask John Thorrington. You don't have to ask him twice. Dallas, once again, they'll work through their academy. They'll bring in players, and you hope that if they sell on folks that they'll reinvest like they did with Ricardo Pepi's financials. San Jose, I think San Jose is just going to do their thing. They'll be mid-level. Vancouver will be lower mid-level. Minnesota, they'll be lower mid-level investment. Austin, Anthony Precourt is an interesting idea. What do you want to do? Frankly, you need a larger stadium first. Salt Lake is not going to invest. Houston has a rare opportunity to invest with new ownership and Ben Olsen. Portland, I think that they might invest a little bit. They'll continue to find those gems. I don't think they're going to I don't think they're going to crack open their piggy bank or anything, but they'll try to find those gems that they've had in the past. Sporting, interesting case. What does Sporting do under Peter Vermees? Colorado's not, and LAG is going to continue to throw money at things when they're able to. So there's a handful of teams that we think, in processing things through, that will want to invest and sit there and go, okay, let's chase after all this talent and let's join the arms race. About a half a dozen or 7 or 8 interesting cases of, okay, here's what we think is going to happen. Here's what, and then everybody else, it's like you'll probably have that 8 or 9 or maybe half of the league is probably going to want to invest. Half of the league's probably not. And then you'll have the ones that are just going to strictly do things their way through academies and such, and we'll figure out, sell-ons and things like that. Well, we don't have enough teams. Well, we do have enough teams, but I think once you get past 32, Parzival, I think that if you get closer to 40, then you get into MLS 1, MLS 2. Mike Conti brought this discussion up one time. You go north of 32, then you've got some questions. 32, I think you're okay. Yeah, well, Bam, if John Thorrington had a blank checkbook, like I said, that would be part of the arms race that we have here. All right, Ricky. So Ricky with a question, and this morning, considering the chaos that has been created, if I missed something in the Twitch pitch, repost it. Bart Keeler's coming on at 10 o'clock for reffing down here and talking national team and all this kind of stuff. We do have a light schedule of games tonight. We have the Atlanta match with LA. We have the resumption of Dallas and All Caps SC. We have a couple of Open Cup games. We've got Can Champ. So that's what you're staring at. I don't think it's intentionally capped the league to prevent for need for a pro rel, but 32 is a number here in the United States and the other pro sports leagues that just seems to be an acceptable number. 4x8 or 8x4 divisions, folks underneath. So 32 is just that magical number that we've seen in American sports. No one's gone above 32. If you go above 32 and you're the first one to do it, then you've got to start thinking about other things, especially if it's soccer. So Parzival, 32 seems to be that magic number. NBA, NHL, NFL, 32. Keep that, and baseball right there. Keep, 30 to 32. That's where everybody is. All right, so Ricky, Miami's road schedule. So let's take a peek at Inter Miami's road schedule and check the venues. We'll check the venues for Inter Miami's schedule here. The road schedule. All right. So, no, they have not put anything on Lionel Messi on the front page yet. They do, however, have at 8 o'clock tonight Birmingham Legion in the Open Cup. Apparently, all the general admission seats at Protective are gone. So it looks like they might have to crack open the upper deck. Very cool moment for Birmingham. All right, so schedule. Schedule for Inter Miami. All right. Let's say it starts in Leagues Cup. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, let's go Leagues Cup. Home match with Cruz Azul, if that's the debut, that's getting moved. Atlanta plays at Inter Miami July 25th. That's Leagues Cup. Once again, that's probably going to get moved. A lot of folks are pinning that one down as the debut. August. Home match against Charlotte. Once again, this is Leagues Cup in between July 25th and August 20. So whatever happens in the Leagues Cup, we don't know that yet. August 20, back to Major League Soccer. Home match against Charlotte. If that's the first MLS match, that's getting moved. Red Bull Arena, August 26. Probably keep it at Red Bull. Nashville visiting August 30. Probably, you might keep that one at Drive Pink. You might. Maybe. But since it's Messi, I would just as soon move everything either to Hard Rock or Marlins Park until further notice. September 3rd in Los Angeles against LAFC at BMO. I would think LAFC would see, I'm of two minds here. Do you move it to the Rose Bowl? Keep an eye on that. Home game September 9 against Sporting Kansas City. I'm moving everything out of DRVP and K until further notice. And I understand the home advantage, BAM, they'll just jack up the prices at the 32.52 and that home advantage. They'll want that cauldron. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, September 16th. Full house. Open up the upper deck. Secondary ticket market's going to go insane. Miami's hosting Toronto on the 20th. Don't know if Messi plays in that one. Because, once again, you've got 3 matches in 8 days because you go to Orlando to take on the purple team on the 24th. Do you move that one to the Citrus Bowl? And then you come back on the 30th for another home match against NYCFC. October, 3 matches. And that's true also, Will. You got to look at the Hurricane schedule and the Dolphins schedule to cross-reference. Soldier Field, they'll open it up. Upper deck, the whole thing. The whole thing of the spaceship gets opened up October 4th. But then you turn around. You got a home game against FC Cincinnati, next to last game of the season. Season finale in Charlotte, they'll open up the full barn at B of A on the 21st of October. So there are, true, Bart. Put the Canes in DRVP and K. So there are chances for football venues, American football venues, to open up to a larger ticketing capacity. Charlotte, Chicago, Atlanta, and possibly LAFC. That's what you're staring at in August, September, and October. BAM posits that they won't want to move the LAFC match out of BMO. Understandable. They're not going to move the Red Bulls match out of Red Bull. Might be one of the few times that the building is full. So looking at August, September, October, Drive Pink, Red Bull, Drive Pink, BMO Stadium, Los Angeles, Drive Pink, Mercedes-Benz, Full House, Drive Pink, Exploria, Citrus Bowl, Drive Pink, Soldier Field, Full House, Drive Pink, B of A, Full House. So that's what you're looking at August, September, October, if this comes to pass. And Ricky, to your point, first day of the college football season, USC and UCLA home schedules. Let's cross-reference the Pac-12. This is the first time that I think we've ever referenced the Pac-12 and this show. First time ever in the history of what's going on that we will have referenced the Pac-12 in this program. It's loading, kind of like the Pac-12. All right, so looking out west, SC is at the Coliseum. So the Rose Bowl is occupied. Coastal Carolina is at 10:30 on September 2nd. Rose Bowl is occupied. Coliseum is occupied. Probably stays at BMO. You think Coastal Carolina takes a buyout? You think Nevada takes a buyout if they move it or if they just flip it or whatever? Nevada at 6:30 Eastern is playing USC at the Coliseum or the Mausoleum. Coastal Carolina is on the four-letter at 10:30 taking on UCLA. So that game stays at BMO. So that's what you're staring at for September 2nd. 6:30, 10:30. So you really could go from the Mausoleum to the Rose Bowl and catch both games. But that's where I think that literally is the first time that we've referenced the Pac-12 on this show in the history of this program as a cross-referencing material. And frankly, yeah, Bart, put the Canes in DRVP and K. That might give them a chance to actually get a full house. Ricky, they would have to if St. Louis if all Caps had a chance to play Messi, the Dome at America's Center or whatever they're calling it now, they'd have to bring in grass and I don't know if it's wide enough. I don't know if that stadium is wide enough for soccer. It'd be an interesting venue, but I don't know if it's wide enough and it would meet spec. Points at Yankee Stadium. So that's what you're looking at there. So there's plenty of insanity, and I know that we all have our we all have our tabs and our notifications squared away for Lionel Messi. So that is what we're looking at. Everybody's rolling off of the Guillaume Balaguer report. Everybody's referencing Guillaume Balaguer. "34 minutes ago, Balaguer says Messi's decided." Nothing like having that to start your day. BBC Sport everyone is referencing this one report. Everyone is referencing this one report. The BBC is now referencing Guillaume Balaguer. That is where we are here. Guillaume Balaguer is being referenced and referred to by the BBC. That is where we're staring. That's what we're staring at right now. And good morning to all of you folks. Talk Sport. Let's see if Talk Sport is going to reference what's going on. Barcelona doesn't have the funds to complete the reunion. Talk Sport reported this back in November. So they are puffing out their chest this morning. Manchester United deadline once again. £5.5 billion is the new offer from Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani. Fifth and final offer, £5.5 billion for 100% control of the club from the Glazers. Deadline of Friday has been set for the offer to be accepted, or they're going to withdraw from the process. Bids understood to be still short of the £6 billion valuation. Sir Jim Ratcliffe still believes he's in the box seat to take ownership. It would see Joel and Avram Glazer retain some shares. Believed to prefer the Ratcliffe proposal, the Glazer brothers, as it would see them retain some percentage. No preferred bidders yet been named by the Rain Group. Summer transfer window coming up. Eric Ten Hag wants some clarification on what's going on. It's like, bruh, what is going on? I need the answer. So, yeah, Ticketmaster has kind of frozen things. The geek of the seats has not. And that's where we are with all of this. PSG has taken interest on the women's side in signing U20 right back Giselle Thompson, younger sister of Alyssa Thompson. Doesn't turn 18 until December, so it could be a loan and a pre-contract. Jonathan Tannenwald is now writing pieces saying that Lionel Messi has picked it up. Now let's see if Jonathan Tannenwald is referencing. Everyone is referencing Guillaume Balaguer at the point of the spear here. And Parzival, this is correct. We're reporting on a report, reported by a reporter, that he has a source close to the most anticipated to ever come to Major League Soccer. That's what you're staring at. Everyone, like I said, everyone, Guillaume Balaguer is the point of the spear here. And everyone is going off of that. So literally, this is like the scene in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, where Ben Stein is asking the student about what's wrong with Ferris. Or somebody saw him last night, not feeling well at Baskin Robbins in 39 flavors. Thank you, Simone. Yeah, that's what you're staring at here right now. My best friend's sister's boyfriend's brother's girlfriend heard from this guy who knows this kid who's going with the girl who saw Ferris pass out at 31 flavors last night. I guess it's pretty serious. That's what you're staring at. That's what you're staring at. But Guillaume Balaguer is the one that is staring at. He is the one who's putting it right out there. All right. Right. And we had mentioned Miguel Rico and his 50,000 followers out of Barcelona. So technically we have Miguel Rico and his 50,000 on the Barcelona side, Guillaume Balaguer and his 1 million followers on the international side of things. Rack How much do the tickets for the Messi matches go up dollars-wise? Like I said, go to SeatGeek. Go to SeatGeek and buy your tickets. See what happens. Rack. So we're holding our breath, waiting to see if this is a last-minute agent play to get him where he wants to be or more money. Well, if it's Barca, like I said, if it's Barca, they got to register him. They absolutely got to register him because they sure as hell can't afford to pay him. And they said that Lewandowski's not taking a pay cut. Yes, you're holding your breath. Balaguer is saying Inter Miami. Miguel Rico is saying Inter Miami or no to Barcelona specifically. And that's what you're at. Yeah, next. When I finally found the quote, 31 flavors. Yep, Jude Bellingham's a here we go. Not sponsored by SeatGeek, by the way. Yes. So Rich is already making 2 trips. He's coming. You're coming down for the Atlanta match. Cool. Let us know what your travel plans are. Ricky, do we still think the Barcelona could be on the table still? It's got to come down to the registry. I mean, I'm putting nothing to chance. I'm putting nothing to chance. So for me, anything is possible until it's not. You get your Barcelona during the MLS offseason, according to Rich. By then, you'd hope that they might have had the paperwork figured out. So let me check the Tannenwald article real quick and see if there's anything different or if he is referencing Guillaume Balaguer as well. So 19, yep, he is referencing. Okay, so here's the little added cachet here. Tannenwald is referencing Guillaume Balaguer. Wrote a biography of Messi, has known him well for many years. So that's another little added piece to all of this. Contributors, CBS and BBC, wrote the biography of Messi. So Tannenwald is writing this as a fait accompli. He's writing this as that this is done. For me, I'm looking at this as until something happens, that's cool to talk about. Because we have to think of all of the different knock-on effects that are attached to this. Saudi offer over $425 million a year in salary plus commercial deals for a 2-season stay. Tannenwald says that there has never been a salary greater than $14 million a year in Major League Soccer's history. So $14 million is the number. So that's what you're staring at right now. Too much left to do to comply with FFP and the financial rules to bring Messi back. Messi debuts during Leagues Cup. A visit to Philly would have to mean that Miami gets out of group. Because remember, Miami is in the group with Atlanta and Cruz Azul. So that's what you're staring at. But Tannenwald does offer the additional info of Balaguer writing the book. And Tom, that's the other part of all of this. Does he play on turf? That's the question. Abdullah Bulma, thank you, Ricky. One of our intrepid Twitterverse finger searchers. Abdullah Bulma from RTL. Once again, this is an hour ago. And Bulma has it more of a probably, possibly. Future of Lionel Messi could be written on the side of Inter Miami. The temptation to join the American franchise has grown in recent weeks. Choice driven by the viable, concrete, and ambitious project carried by Beckham, supported by Major League Soccer. So that's Abdullah Bulma from RTL. He's got 50,000 followers. Well, no, I mean, Rich, you didn't miss the talk about Tata. And yeah, the FIFA reporter not mentioning Balaguer. But once again, it's all part of this process. Once again, take the information from your sources that you search, put them all in lines. Don't lump them together, because you could have folks who are omitting where they're getting things from and just trying to say something on their own. Reputable sources today. You didn't miss the Tata talk, Rich? Because right now, it's like, okay, they were together at Barca, but once again, the article and the conversation was, it's like, they were cool with each other, didn't like, they weren't buddies, but they didn't hate each other. So, okay, so he was a coach. So that's how I took it. He coached him at Barca. Wasn't anything, big to write home about. Okay, great. So we'll move. Well, that could be a part of it too. But yeah, keep an eye on the turf situation. And there's a lot of schedule compression. So if this comes to pass, schedule compression is going to be part of this as well. Have to keep an eye on this. David Ornstein saying the Bellingham deal's fee is in excess of €100 million, among the biggest deals in both clubs' histories. Bellingham set to have a medical in the coming days before completing the move, according to our friends at The Athletic. Once again, remember, though, The Athletic article has mentioned the confidence or lack thereof in getting this to go down. And you thought silly season was silly. Messi season has taken on an entirely different dynamic of silly season, completely and totally. We've got Bart Keeler coming up in just a little bit for reffing down here and other things. Because there are plays that Bart wanted to reference, and we wanted to go over them, because I always like to pick Bart's brain about things, specifically when it comes to reffing and getting that perception and getting that perspective on things, because I know a lot of us like to sit there and, see, dude with the pro badge or individual with the pro badge sitting there waving their hand, acting like a blackjack dealer or not doing anything. And you're just kind of like, bruh. And that's why I wanted to have Bart come on when he does, so we can talk about these kinds of things and get a better understanding from the referee's perspective. And so we can also look at others and go and just to understand. It's almost like a defensive driving course when we started reffing down here. Is that I wanted to have Bart come on to talk national team stuff, because there's always a lot going on. But at the same time, with his reffing background, to kind of give the secondary perspective, look at it from the other side, so we understand what's being processed at the time when it comes to incidents. And Bart has come up with a couple of incidents that need to be discussed, looked at, all those kinds of things. Vancouver is 5, Charlotte 6. So there are 6 that are turf. But once again, you're looking at 6 teams with turf. 6 teams with turf and schedule compression. So take that into consideration as well. There's a lot of schedule compression going on when you come out of Leagues Cup 2. And that's the thing, Jason, when it comes to, Thiago and Messi and such. If Napoli's going to sit there and cut a $40 million check, you've got to do right by the player, got to do right by the client. All right, so 10 o'clock. The amazingly punctual Bart Keeler is here. Welcome to Reffing Down Here. So Bart.
Good morning, everyone.
Yes, and he's going with the game day mug. Understandably so. So Bart.
So, what do you guys want to talk about?
Cody Rhodes. There's some things I figure we'll go ahead and bring you in to before we get into Reffing Down Here, before we get into the national team and your mug, because there's plenty to talk about. This Messi dude. Your initial thoughts on possibility, probability, depending on who you reference and your sourcing and all that kind of stuff. What's been processing through your brain since about 9/11 this morning?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing with the Messi, as we talk about it and just look at how this is going to go down, is to use journalistic integrity in your own mind or in your own life. Check your sources. Try to find more than one source. And that's kind of where I'm at right now, is that the sources seem legitimate, but there's not a plethora of sources. There seems to be one or two. And this includes everything going on with Messi. This isn't just Inter Miami. This is also Messi to Barca. This is Messi to Saudi Arabia. So I think that would be something that I would just personally just caution everyone for, is like, it sounds fun. It sounds great. And I don't deny that, but just make sure you're checking your sources. Make sure you're verifying your sources, making sure you're backing them up by finding multiple sources. That's that out of the way.
So you're saying sources, and sources, huh?
Yeah. Be a capital J journalist today as you talk about all of this. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That said, I think that it is something that has obviously been talked about for more than just this, couple days. This has been something that, from an MLS perspective, this has been a potential for years, right? We were talking about this before Messi went to PSG. We were talking about this last year. So the plausibility is there. This would be massive for and I agree. I think I forget who tweeted it, so I apologize. It may have been, no, it wasn't Ariel Castillo. She was tweeting about just the vibes that Miami would have if they got Messi. But this would be a bigger soccer moment in this country than literally anything. This would be bigger than just hosting a World Cup. And I do ascribe to that, because I think that Messi is a show all unto himself. Do I think that the idea of Joseph and Messi working together to try to counter press a team is quite laughable? Yeah. No, Rich, this would be bigger than David Beckham. Specifically because David Beckham, while he was an international global superstar, and he was, Leo Messi is beloved by all soccer audiences, and specifically the largest soccer audience in this country. This isn't just a guy who played it in the Prem and played for Real Madrid that is beloved by English-speaking soccer fans. Because we all know, John, the largest soccer watching audience in this country is our friends who speak Spanish.
Correct.
Our friends from Mexico specifically. That would elevate MLS in their minds. They would start watching it, and that's how you get MLS to actually grow. Because if you get 100,000 Mexican soccer fans, I should say, in Houston per se, interested in coming to a game to watch Messi, to the point where now they have to go to NRG. The likelihood that those Mexican Americans who are in and around Houston stay with Houston Dynamo at that point in time.
Yeah.
It may not be 100,000. It may be 5,000, but that is growth that we haven't seen with MLS in a very long time. And now, obviously, Atlanta United doesn't need that help. Seattle doesn't need that help. Portland doesn't need that help. But teams like Houston, teams like Inter Miami, teams like New England, they need that boost of getting a real draw to the stands, and then hopefully find a way to keep it. Like, run a promotion, wear a Messi jersey, you get a free I don't know, Houston Dynamo T-shirt.
Get a free oil. Get a free oil change.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, listen, whatever it takes, right? But I'm just saying, wear a Messi jersey, get a free piece of Houston swag, get a free piece of San Jose swag. There's a club that needs a shot.
Barrett, he's referencing your San Jose Earthquakes.
But
look,
the shot in the arm this give us is great.
It's fine. It's fine. This is a landmark moment in this league. To Jason's point, yeah, like the Beckham thing hit on a number of different levels because of where the league was, what Beckham meant in that moment when he came here. Like it meant a lot. It's an insanely big moment in this league's history. This one's probably going to be bigger. As good as Beckham was very, very good. No one has ever mistaken David Beckham for being the greatest player of all time, which is something that Lionel Messi has an insanely strong claim to.
He's certainly the greatest of his generation, and I definitely don't think Beckham even had that claim.
Yeah.
No.
All he had was most handsome man married to the most gorgeous woman. And those are great claims to have.
Hey, Beckham was clutch too from a set piece. And I don't and it's the thing is like I want to have this conversation of like in the sense of when we talk about, hey, Beckham wasn't Messi. That's not a shot at Beckham. That's because Messi was transcended so many things on or off the field, and on the field is in a conversation of a handful of players greatest to ever put their foot on a ball.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't take away from what David Beckham was on the field. And Messi is going to hey, Bart, I already looked, by the way. If you go on Ticketmaster to look for tickets for the Leagues Cup, your favorite competition,
nope.
You can't find tickets for Atlanta, Miami right now. Their showing is sold out. I think they may have pulled them down, or they just haven't released them in the first place, which would just be coincidence at this point. But you cannot find them. And all of the Inter-Miami games going forward, the ticket prices are actively rising.
I looked last night, Jarrett, for the Atlanta-Miami game for just not the verified resale, the first sale, through the club and Ticketmaster. You have supporter section tickets, and you have one section of seats in Mercedes-Benz. Granted, they're only doing the first two levels, so that definitely would change.
They're going to have to open it up. That's going to change.
Yeah. Now, you want to hear my Sophie's choice on this?
Uh-oh.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's go. Let's get grim. I love it. I'm already here.
So Atlanta United hosts Inter Miami on Saturday, September 16th.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia hosts Pitt
on
Saturday, September 16th. For the first time since
2011. What is it? Okay, are they going to, if they don't kick off at the exact same time, how much do we need to crowdfund you?
We already kick off at 7:30. That has been, or 7, one of those two times. So that's been released from the networks up in Morgantown. So kickoff in Morgantown is 7 or 7:30. Obviously, the Atlanta Inter Miami game at that
that's going to be Big Fox might pick that up.
Yeah.
Right. So that could end up being especially with the Joseph return type thing, so that could be a 4:00 kick, but yeah. If anyone has a private jet that they want to loan me for that Saturday,
flight aware. Bart Keeler needs flight aware for that.
Yeah, we're going to need a helicopter to hope to God Fox picks it up for a 4:00 kick on Saturday, or pray to God that maybe they flex the game to Sunday.
Ooh.
And then try and run it 4 or 7 Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening.
Yeah.
I know Mr. Blank has a private yacht. Maybe he has a private jet or helicopter.
Oh, I'm sure he's got a private. I know he's got a private.
If that's what it takes, maybe they would move it to Sunday for you, and then because look, Backyard Brawl is on my bucket list personally.
I was at the last one in 2011. I was obviously there last year. We don't need to talk about it. And it just so happens that September 16th, my birthday is 3 days later. So I was actually planning a nice little birthday trip to go from Morgantown to DC, watch Atlanta United in DC on that Wednesday, and then fly home.
Ricky's
we'll see.
Ricky's already blocked out the 17th because it's Falcons Packers.
I mean, flex that game. Who cares? Who gives a shit about the Packers this year? They don't have.
Well,
you know,
Aaron Rodgers isn't even there anymore.
Yeah, no one's going to watch Jordan Love.
No.
That's not
Jordan Love and
not,
Desmond Ridder, the matchup of the ages.
Flex that to Thursday night.
Yeah. All right. So you want to go reffing?
Oh my God! But
what?
No, seriously, he's right.
What?
Imagine a world where we flex an NFL game because we got to put Lionel Messi in Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
But like that's the thing
Sunday.
that Fox could legitimately do is say, no, we got to put this, because that could go up against some NFL teams. Mm-hmm. Or you do a Falcons United doubleheader. Falcons start at 1, United starts at 4 or 7, whatever.
But you gotta add the lines and wash the field.
Yeah,
I mean, look, we all know that United is going to outsell the Falcons. We all know this.
Yeah,
that is true.
Even with the dirty cheeseheads, the stinky cheeseheads coming down, full of brats and beer and no brains, but they're going to be down there.
It's amazing this whole thing where we have this disconnect between Wisconsin fans are pretty much loved by everybody as being this insane group of drunk Vikings that roll into your town and drink it dry. And they're generally pretty fun. No one seems to have beef with Madison unless you're another Big Ten West team.
Yeah.
Whereas the animosity towards Green Bay might as well be night and day. It's one of my favorite weird quirks with American football.
All right. So we can now add Ben Jacobs from CBS Sports to this.
There we go. Okay.
Lionel Messi joining Inter Miami as Guillaume Balaguer first revealed. Deal includes support from Apple and Adidas. Talks from Messi and Inter Miami have been going for almost 2 years. Messi's turned down Al Hilal. Saudi dealmakers were preparing for his arrival, but Messi never said yes, only that terms were acceptable. Messi's decision is understood to be driven by what he feels is best for his family. Also has a property in Miami already, the $9 million condo that we talked about. Messi was keen to stay in Europe. But
He's going to be a minority shareholder of Apple by the time this is done, as well as MLS, probably.
Yeah.
The man's going to be able to.
How does Audi get involved? Mm-hmm. Does Audi give him, the Nick Saban special and give him multiple dealerships in South Florida?
Yeah, that is great. He can compete with
Leo Messi, Audi.
Yeah. Messi keen to stay in Europe, but Barcelona unable to make the numbers work as explained with the financial plan, squad cost limit, and all that kind of stuff. Messi wasn't prepared to wait for a formal offer, so we can now add Ben Jacobs to the mix.
I meant to before we get into roughing down here because I know we need to. I need to ask Bart how he feels if my club takes one for the team and hires Jesse Marsh before the U.S. national team can.
Celtic.
I actually think that would be a great landing spot for Jesse. San Jose. I mean, Celtic. I'm sorry.
San Jose would also be an interesting landing spot, but I don't think Lucci is leaving.
No,
I think I actually think Marsh to Celtic would be interesting because look, Jarrett, it would be cataclysmic for Celtic to not win the league again next year.
Oh yeah. I'm very realistic about what they are, both domestically and as a punching bag in European football. It's fine.
Right. I think the only problem I would have is I don't know if Ange Postecoglou and Jesse I don't know if Jesse is the guy to follow Postecoglou, but maybe he is. He definitely has a big personality and a big locker room presence that might help.
Jarrett, just so you know, Jarrett, your Geek of Seats, where you are trying to corner the market, still has tickets available, $50 and under for Nashville, Sporting, Toronto, NYC, and FC Cincinnati.
Oh, I'm selling my tickets to the September. I was going to sell my tickets to the September game anyway. Now I'm just ultra selling them.
Yeah, so there you go. So that's what you're staring at.
Well, that's what I'm also looking at is I can sell my tickets to fund my trip to Morgantown for the
There you go. There it is.
Look, this is going to work out for everybody except for Bart and his love of seeing soccer and football in the same weekend.
Yes.
This is like in 2020, though, where I had the idea of the perfect sports weekend that I never got to execute, where because they moved the Masters to fall, I had this idea of what if you go to the Masters on Friday, hop over to Athens, because the next day UGA was playing Tennessee, which was just basically while watching a 60-minute snuff film. And then on Sunday, going to a Falcons game or a United game, whichever it was. It's like it was a perfect sports weekend to be set up with, and just wasn't able to execute it. Mostly because I don't have tickets to Augusta.
Jonathan Tannenwald, I asked on Twitter, I asked someone, the Philadelphia Inquirer, at the goalkeeper. I asked someone well connected in MLS circles when to expect Messi to debut for Inter Miami. August, I was told.
Oh.
So no Leagues Cup, at least in the opening round.
Messi's not playing in Leagues Cup. He's not playing in a made-up tournament. Oh, wait. He did play in La Liga.
Yes. All right. So
Cruz Azul
plays
fans
with
are just
PSG
sitting there with
currently.
their head in their hands.
yes. Well, and those prices got jacked up to like $230 at DRV P&K. Bart, choice is yours. Reffing down here or national team talk?
Let's do roughing down here because I know I don't know if he's still on, but Will wanted to chat about a decision from the.
Oh yeah, no,
Huntsville match.
he's talking about Jarrett Stetson's going to have a Chrysler or a Lexus dealership. Too much success for a Kia. All right, so
Kia dealership's perfect for a guy who won 2 national titles and doesn't do anything else, because I'm pretty sure that's the same plot as Ed O'Neill's character in Little Giants.
yes, it was. All right, so
We'll see you at Bulldog Kia.
Yeah, Will being our Huntsville City FC resident alerter. There was a straight red that happened in the match. And by the way, all matches at Joe Davis this season are apparently all meant to be chaotic. But he wanted your thoughts on a straight red that was given in the match against NYCFC 2 that kind of flipped the script a little bit as they had a 3-0 lead and ended up losing 4-3.
So my first thought is I wish that the referee who gave the red card in this match would referee the big MLS team affiliated with Nashville or with Huntsville, because they deserve a lot of red cards, and I appreciate the cojones to actually give a red card. So the red card was given for a foul during an attacking phase of play. The defender, after getting beat, doesn't even just stick his leg out, kind of kicks the leg of the attacker as he's running past him. Not too high. It's definitely in the shin guard area, and he's given a red card. Now, Will's argument is he only saw this as stopping a promising attack. Yes, it's definitely stopping a promising attack. It's not quite that same level of it goes beyond that, because the foul in question, to me, I see where the referee gave a red card. It was more than cynical. This is what we're looking at is this serious foul play? In the referee's mind, he saw that intentionally kicking an opponent who's running past you is a serious foul play. And again, it wasn't like in the ankle. It wasn't super high. It wasn't like he kicked him in the knee, but he did kick him above like the shin guard, right? Like where that shin guard starts. He kicked him above that. So in the referee's estimation, he saw that as serious foul play. And I do think that it would be hard to argue that with that referee. I personally would not have given a red card for that. It definitely is yellow card for a bad foul. At that point, we're talking about, a reckless foul. But I don't think that stopping a promising attack would have been the yellow card anyway, because that was a reckless foul. The referee thought it was serious foul play.
Second one on the board, and it comes from Open Cup last night. And Jared, I know that you were watching Open Cup as Cincinnati was taking on the Screaming Bob Lilies.
Still mad about it.
And by that,
pour one out for the Screaming Bob Lilies. Cincinnati, you don't deserve nice things. You made Skyline chilly.
The Pittsburgh Riverhounds losing to FC Cincinnati. The second goal kind of made the first one wash away a little bit, but it also reinforces why you probably need VAR in the Open Cup.
The third goal also drilled it home.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what happened in the first goal in Open Cup, Bart?
Well, what you see first, the referee play in question here.
All right.
Is for me anyway, I'm looking at this and going, okay, how in the world do you think to rugby tackle someone
Yes.
from behind like that? Not pull an arm back.
Mm-hmm.
The Pittsburgh defender puts both arms around the Cincinnati player and rolls him to this is like Pete Carroll 101 tackling.
Oh,
this is day one of training camp. Pete Carroll teaching how to tackle technique. I would have given this a red card.
It's a great roll tackle.
This is not just stopping a promising attack. We just talked about the Huntsville situation where not just stopping a promising attack is obviously a bad foul. To me, this is a red card. This is serious foul play. This is something that we never want to see in a soccer game. And to me also, you combine the fact that it is stopping a promising attack with the level of foul play that this is, right? The severity of the foul. I would have given this a red card. I am really shocked that the referees thought that a yellow card was fine. I'm also really shocked that Cincinnati thought that the yellow card was also just fine. Like, we do not want to see this in soccer, period.
Yeah. Literally, it is a drag down tackle from behind, and that it's a horse collar. That's probably the best way that I can describe it. And it literally looked like a horse collar tackle from behind that was only worthy of a yellow card. So God knows what would be a red card in that situation. But, I thought that was the two plays that you brought up. And the cool thing about this is that now that this segment has kind of grown and morphed in its own, you're now taking suggestions on plays to analyze, to give the reffing perspective on things. And I think that's kind of cool as to how things are evolving.
We saw two very similar plays, right? They're both stopping a promising attack. They're both beyond just a normal, what we used to call a cynical foul, right? Both of these are more than just a bad foul or just a cynical foul. They're intentionally done to stop the player from progressing. And it goes beyond just stopping. It's not just a foul or a pull from behind. It's not just Chicago Fire defending Thiago Almada. It's, at this point, these are both, in my estimation, serious foul play. I think, again, for these Huntsville one, you could have gotten away with just a yellow card. I do not understand how this Pittsburgh player got away with just a yellow card there. I would have, that's a red card, in my opinion.
We can now add others to the Messi discussion, Messi statement. This is from LB Celeste Talk, which is an amalgamator of various sourcing from Argentina. Messi's statement on his social networks announcing his signing for Inter Miami is imminent. So getting closer and closer.
Did we did we go over the Houston-Chicago goalkeeper basically tackling the attacker in the box? That one was fun last night too.
Yeah.
Where they didn't give a penalty?
Yeah, we have not. It was inside the 18, and basically I thought that the one you were talking about with your roll, roll tackle part.
No, that Houston Chicago one, that goalkeeper is very lucky as well, because that was a stone cold penalty in my opinion, and I don't know if it's a red card necessarily. I don't know, because it's definitely not dog so, and I don't think it's anything serious foul play necessarily. But
I think he just
cow.
No, I think he's going. I think he's trying to make a play. He just misses.
Yeah, but still,
he misses.
That happens. That's fine. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He misses everything but the player.
Yeah, I was going to say, the fact that you missed making the play means you contacted the player. It still means it should be either a penalty or something. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to get into with reffing down here was a quote that Wayne Rooney gave to The Athletic. And it was your response on social media that had me bookmark this. Sit down with The Athletic last week. Wayne Rooney has been critical of refereeing since he was a player in Major League Soccer. And Vanni Sartini decided that he wanted to jump on the pile and try to frog splash refereeing in general. Wayne Rooney was asked whether he thought the quality of play in MLS and the officiating had improved since his league debut in 2018. Quote, I think the quality of play has increased, and I think the officiating has gotten worse. I just think it hasn't gotten any better. Look, you can accept referees making mistakes. That happens. They're human beings and they make mistakes. But some of the decisions we've had this year, which have been very bizarre, and then they haven't been overturned via VAR. Then we've been to the referees committee and they've said it was or it wasn't a foul or whatever. It's all very bizarre. All that you want really is someone who makes a mistake to accept it, but I don't actually realize how they can make mistakes in the first place with VAR. So the question, and obviously Ted Uncle disagreed with, was offered up Rooney's criticisms. He said, I don't agree with that. I think the educational component of what we do has gotten greater. We have better video and audio because of what VAR gives us. We have a multi-view platform where I can watch a game after I've done a game and listen to my communication on the field, what I've said or what I've thought I've said, which is a huge thing, end quote. But Bart, the point that you made about refereeing in and of itself is the fact that you have more teams and more divisions and more matches creates a bit of a drain on officials who are match ready regardless of division. And I wanted you to kind of expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. So this is, again, what we're seeing at the grassroots level. We're seeing this at the regional level, and we're seeing this at the national and professional level, where soccer as a sport has become very, very popular. I'll say from the grassroots level, the popularity has increased. The number of teams have increased. The number of players have increased. What really has increased, and this is what we're kind of seeing with the professional levels, they're kind of mirroring each other, is you're adding a lot of teams to these elite, air quotes, hard air quotes, elite leagues.
Right.
And those require top level refereeing. They require advanced refereeing, and they require experienced referees, because to give the kids the most fair playing field on which they can grow in the game and express what they've learned and practice or implement what they've learned in practice, you need referees who are experienced, well-trained, and understanding of the game. The reality is we do not have a large amount of those people who are referees in this country. So when you're adding, and I think my joke was when you're adding 47 new professional teams, I feel like that's a joke that also feels right, as you see USL 1 and 2 expand, you see NWSL expand, and you see MLS expand. So I think that's what people don't understand. It's not just that MLS has added, since Atlanta even joined from 2017 to now, we've gone from 22 teams to 30, right? We're at 29 now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that where we're at? Yeah. It's not just adding teams, you've added matches to the calendar, right? Well, referees, especially in the professional level, you're not refereeing multiple games a weekend like we would do. Like at the grassroots level, I could go referee matches on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. No one's going to bat an eye. You're not doing that at the professional level, especially not from a center standpoint. Maybe a center might become a fourth official or a VAR official, but you're not centering two matches. You're not getting an AR to run a line for two matches in a weekend. It's just not happening. So at that professional level, you do not have enough good referees to go around. You just don't, because you have, goodness gracious, how many USL championship clubs are there now? 32.
There used to be until the one.
That's right. But you've got 20 plus teams in MLS and USL championship, on top of what are we at? 12 in USL 1, 12 in NWSL.
Mm-hmm.
That is bigger than most leagues anywhere in the world, right? Premier League is 20 and championship is 24. 20? Or are they at 24? Somewhere in there.
Yeah, 24, 26.
Point is, all of our leagues have more teams than all these football developed countries who have been training referees since before time. We're behind in referee education and training because for a number of reasons, one of those being that we haven't had good referees to train the next generation of good referees. That's my goal every time I go out there, is to try to help these young referees become good referees so they can replace me. Rich, what the hell are we talking about ProRel for this morning? We've been having a great discussion about Messi, and now you're bringing up ProRel. Anyway, point is,
I used to have a gong for times like this, but I don't know where it is anymore.
The growth of how many physical teams there are is outpacing how many good referees we have, because referee development is behind.
Mm-hmm.
So every time we want to yell at the referees, which, be critical. Criticism is fine. Again, you need to come at it with the idea, with the intent to get everything better, not because you feel like somehow you've been, I don't know, somehow the referee impacted the game. I got news for you. A referee decision is very unlikely to actually impact the call of the game. You getting mad because a throw-in didn't go your way in the 27th minute at midfield is not impacting the game. Shit. Most of the time, a penalty kick decision is not going to impact the actual flow of the game, because likely, and this is how this goes, your team is, probably didn't do what they should have done to score the goals that would have negated a penalty kick, looking at you, Atlanta United. But your criticism, and I think Rooney is legitimately criticizing them with the intent of trying to make, he wants the whole referee product to be better, similar to the way he wants the play on the field to be better. I don't think he's criticizing them just to be, an English, arrogant dude.
Yeah.
I think that his criticisms were valid. And again, they're made with the intent to try to improve referees as a whole in this country. But again, the problem is we have plenty of Wayne Rooneys who have come over from England to come coach. Most of them aren't actually good coaches. Let's be real honest. Just because you have a British accent doesn't make you a good soccer coach.
What?
To be real honest.
What?
Also doesn't mean you're also automatically a great broadcaster. But I digress.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And yes.
Frog sipping coffee.
Yeah, I was going to say, the only thing missing was a transparent mug where there's some tea in there.
Emilio, the problem is you're under the impression that so Emilio's comment will recruit second or third division Euro or Central American League to come to US. One, you're again assuming that they have enough referees to do that are at the professional level. Because second and third division,
I'd love for a job sharing though.
That would be great. But you're also under the impression that they have people to just give to us, especially in Central America. Have you seen CONCACAF refereeing?
And that's why I would love to have, for lack of a better word, an exchange program, because the Central American and South American leagues, I mean, right now you're in Copa, but there are some leagues right now in Central and South America that are done. And I'd love to have U.S. refs. I'd love to have them go and sample Copa Libertadores and Copa Sudamericana, so they're not intimidated when they come back and they're in these CONCACAF, whatever the new branding is, league situations where you go to the Monsters cage at Saprissa and everybody's freaking out.
Sure. I think you're valid, especially they don't even have to be the center. They can just be the fourth official, right?
Yeah.
I mean, most of the MLS referees are, and I'm sure USL, are bilingual to some degree, so speaking Spanish in a Copa Libertadores match to be the fourth official where your job is just to get yelled at for 90 plus minutes. That might be a great opportunity for them. So I don't think that's a bad idea. My point to to Emilio is you're under the impression that they also have referees to just give us, and that their refereeing at that second or third division in Europe is somehow just canonically better than ours. I've seen USL championship games, and I don't know if I want that style of refereeing in MLS.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen women's Super League matches that the refereeing tends to match NWSL matches where they believe that murder is fine as long as you get the ball. We're not going to talk about how that has maybe contributed to the vast uptick in injuries in women's soccer, but whatever.
I was about to ask if we wanted to play the correlation game with that, because I don't disagree.
There's definitely not causation. I think there's some correlation. Point is, every country has referee styles that is different because every country plays soccer and is set up a little differently. The soccer we see in the U.S. is the most variable in the world, and I will stand by this. Not just from the competition level. I mean, you look at what the trash team that we couldn't even beat, Miami, how they play soccer versus how the fantastic team in Cincinnati, and I'll even put LAFC up there in terms of how they play soccer and the quality at which they can play that is vastly different. Nope. Yeah, there's a big difference between Sunderland and Manchester City, right?
I'm still waiting for the league to give me a good reason why Louis Figal wasn't given a suspension for basically cold cocking John Gallagher, but that's just me. Just saying.
Yeah. So I agree with what Rooney, though, in that the fact that I think VAR is not being applied well because he admits that, look, center officials are going to make mistakes. We are one guy running after 22 players on the field making all these decisions at one time. VAR needs to get better to help the center official make better decisions, even if they mess up, because I do think back to that Brooks Lennon non-penalty kick call in Miami where somehow, who was it? Old dude.
Jair Marufo?
Jair Marufo, thank you. Is looking at this thinking, oh no, he was like, VAR needs to step in and say, was this a foul or not? And they stepped in, and Marufo made his own decision, which is, obviously how VAR works. But how can VAR support him in making a better decision there? Because his decision was blinded by Jair Marufo's arrogance that he did not make a bad call.
Well, and that's another twofold issue with VAR is I think that what you should have are center refs who have the experience but cannot handle the physical rigors of a match and have them be your lead VARs.
I agree. I think Jason's talked about this a lot too, is where I think the VAR can be a great tool for older referees like Ted Uncle is a great example. Jair Marufo is a great example. They are unable to meet that physical demand to referee a full professional match anymore. They just are. It's what happens. Father Time is undefeated. Mm-hmm. They can be there. But you can also use that to insert younger referees who are learning to maybe be center officials at that MLS level. Again, USL referees, can we get them? VAR is that process does not have to be USL versus MLS. And in fact, maybe getting a USL referee into the VAR room opens their mind up to a very different and probably better level of play without them having to make actual decisions. Because at that point, you're just saying, hey, I think there might have been a foul here, or, yep, we got him for offside. Those are not MLS versus USL things, right? So a VAR with a USL referee, maybe, who's still part of this professional referees consortium, can get training there to learn how to manage and, it's just viewing from a referee's perspective a higher level match. Maybe that helps him. And we're talking about people who are on that MLS track. Because, again, you have to get these referees from somewhere. Most likely place you're getting them from is USL.
Yeah, and I like Tom Russo's idea of possibly experimenting in, cup competitions and things with two centers like they have in the National Hockey League because the game got faster. And so the NHL was like, we probably need two center refs and two linesmen. So you go from 1 and 2 to 2 and 2, and you have the entire 200 by 85 surface covered. I like that.
You got to have the bodies for that, though.
True. And that's part of it also.
Yeah. Look, we can talk round and round about all the different ways to improve refereeing. I think what Wayne Rooney specifically is talking about is two things. One, how do we get VAR to better support the referees on the field? And conversely, then how do you get the referees on the field to work with VAR to arrive at the best decision? And then the second one is how do we work, and we've talked about this all the time, how do we work with referees after matches to improve their decision-making and improve consistency of calls across all matches? And that's something that I do think that Pro/MLS needs to do better, because there is a high variance of calls, right? I mean, we just talked about at the beginning of the match. Why was one call in MLS Next Pro a red card for something that was definitely not as egregious as what we saw in the Open Cup last night?
Right.
In my opinion, anyway. I mean, I don't know. A two-armed takedown tackle to me seems pretty freaking serious foul play.
Absolutely.
So I think that's also where Rooney's getting at is how do we work with them to get consistent calls throughout, not just the match, because you're going to have some inconsistencies in the match because of a lot of, but like, how do we just help them understand, yes, this is the fouls we want called. These are the yellow cards we want given. I will say, I think it's been a little bit better this year. I'm sorry, y'all, in terms of consistency with what I think yellow cards have been given for. But it needs to still get better. And that's something that I think Wayne Rooney is commenting on is the process of it all.
My only concern, and we'll go into national team talk coming up here in just a little bit. My only concern, if you put younger, less experienced officials in that VAR position, is that if you have an older, more experienced, more respected, and I'm just putting those words out there, official downstairs, and you have the younger official upstairs, that younger official may be more gun shy because you don't want to show up an older ref and fear for your position, because if you sit there and you say something, even though you may be right, you may not want to pull the trigger because you don't want to rock the boat.
I mean, it's possible. We have that. I think you could say that we have that problem right now in MLS, where you have older VARs maybe who try to influence a younger official, or we have younger officials who don't truly get to influence an older, referee on the field. Again, I think the goal is to get referees exposed to that level in a fairly low stakes environment, right? Be it a fourth official or a VAR or even assistant VAR. Because at that point, you're just triggering the process, not making decisions, right? You're guiding the center ref through and say, hey, I think I want you to take a second look at this. I think we may have a foul. Take a look at it. At that point, the decision-making process goes to the center referee at the monitor. But there's a lot of VAR decisions that are, hey, yeah, he was offside. Or, yeah, actually that ball was out of play. Or, yeah, we got a goal. It went over the line. And those are black and white decisions, right? So,
Justin Felder on the Twitters discussing the possible Messi effect. Mark Ogden at ESPN FC is basically saying it is still up in the air between Barca and Inter Miami, while there are other reports. He references Guillaume Balaguer by report, not by name. Mark Ogden is saying that there is still discussion with Barca and Inter Miami being the two, and that Al Hilal is they know that they're third, and they know that they're probably on the way out the door. Justin Felder for issues and giggles. Cheapest ticket on Ticketmaster for Atlanta United and Inter Miami in September is $139.
Yep.
Cheapest tickets for the home match before and the one after Miami, $20 and $38.
Yep. I looked at that today, and everything is now on resale, and everything is 100 plus.
Well, and that they're going to go full barn if this does come to pass.
I mean, I think as soon as that happens, it would be stupid to not, go full barn, open up everything.
Yep.
Because you can sell those tickets for $50 a pop, and you're still going to fill it out.
Yeah. They want to wait, D. Graham. They want to wait until it's all officially official before they open it up and go full barn on the whole thing.
So basically, we've got a lever off between Barcelona and Miami who can pour the most levers.
Yes, correct. That is
pull the lever, Kronk. Wrong lever.
Exactly. What's behind door number 3? So door number 3 is Al Hilal. They're over there. So we're trying to figure it out. National team stuff. We haven't had the chance to talk about that. I know that you over at SoccerForUSPod have. Obviously, disappointing where the U20s are concerned, but the U20s had their own little bit of chaos anyway, where a lot of the favorites didn't even make it out of the round of 8.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the U20 World Cups, I think we talked about it on the Soccer for Us pod that we just recorded. a U.S. keeper specifically made this point that, it's going to be disappointing that we didn't make the semifinal because we have crashed out at the stage time and time again in very similar fashions, mostly to South American teams. I think that speaks to the stages of development that a lot of South American teams are great at producing professional ready soccer players before they hit that 20-year-old mark. I mean, look how many that Atlanta United has signed. I mean, despite what we say about Ezequiel Barco, he certainly wasn't not professional ready. The man was ready to play pro ball. And so it just, it's very clear that a lot of South American countries do a better job of developing them, players maybe quicker than even European countries do. And that's okay. At this age, development is, at any age, development is not linear. Also, it's very valid that the U.S. team, I think this U20 group, this one specifically, is probably not as strong as we've had in the past. I think we have the floor is much higher. The ceiling is not. When you are expecting a guy like Diego Luna, who, no shade to him, but he, there are obvious reasons he's not getting playing time necessarily at Real Salt Lake, but he still doesn't play much for his own professional club. If that's the guy you're relying on, if you're relying on Cade Cowell, who's, kind of a one-trick pony when it comes to what he can do on the soccer field, and you don't really have an actual striker, it happens. Again, the goal for this of each cycle is to find players who can come to the full senior national team and make them better. I don't necessarily think we have anyone in this particular group who achieves that. But I thought this group was very good. And again, I think the ceiling or the floor has been raised. The ceiling just wasn't very high for this team. But they played well as a team. They still played very well in that loss to Uruguay. Unfortunate to, they were tested and their back line wasn't ready,
And you get an OG from Josh Winder. You're down one.
Yeah, that sucked for him, man.
And so that made it two, and that made it that much more difficult to chase. We've got folks arriving in Los Angeles, and the slow-mo videos are being posted on social media of folks getting out of vans. And you look at the Nations League finals roster, the 23-man roster. 5 years ago, if maybe even 3, if you had a roster that would have had Falarin Balogun, Alex Zendejas, Alan Senora, Johnny, Serginho Dest. It's a fun one to stare at when you sit there and think that, man, for the longest time, and I know that we loop this back into college football, for the longest time, there wasn't no Cruton going on, son.
I know.
And now you got Cruton going on, and you got that Nations League roster on the right-hand side of the column that's got some definite portaling that has happened. And the Cruton has been full bore for the U.S. for this Nations League roster.
Yeah, I think, again, this is something that U.S. soccer has a unique advantage over any other country in the world, is that we have so many people who both live here with dual citizenship, triple citizenship, but we also have a lot of connection outside of the country to people who, be it they have an American father or mother, but they're actually British, similar to that Balogun story, or, as Klinsmann rated the armed forces bases in Germany for people who had kids who played soccer. We have, thank the military industrial complex for, giving us this advantage over other teams in the world. I guess that's one reason to keep funding the military, but that is an advantage that we need to exercise, especially now as we look at, Pepe, Ferreira, Senora, these are people who are South Americans, right? So they have families from South America, but they're U.S. citizens because of birth or whatever it is at this point. Those are great to pull from as well. And so for the U.S., this is something that I think we're just going to have to – people need to accept this is how we're going to get our best pool of players. And that's something that as fans, it's fun to see because those recruiting wars are fun. And I don't think any other country is also prepared to do the recruiting the way we are. Canada thinks they're doing it right now with Aiden Morris, and that's kind of funny. So we'll see.
I know we got games tonight. I'm going to roll through because Rich has a point, and I want to circle back to it since we're on 10-minute warning. Rich's point that he just made, and I think it's an interesting point that I want to get into before we go. Running through the schedule tonight, and it is a various and sundry group. You've got Open Cup at Protective at 8 o'clock. Apparently, the lower bowl at Protective is out of seats, which is very, very cool for Birmingham as a city, as a soccer city. They're hosting the Herons tonight in Open Cup. We're getting the tail.
Did Homeboy write an article about how this is the most important day ever in Birmingham soccer history, or is that only to trash Atlanta United?
No, I think Keeler wrote Keeler Hodges over at the USL show did write an article about Birmingham and Miami.
Okay.
And
I didn't know if it was just we only throw shade at Atlanta because all the southern cities want to be Atlanta, or how that worked over there.
No, Keeler. It is a big day, and there's another big day. Involving their USLW team and trying to set a record for USLW attendance as well.
Which I love to see. That's fantastic.
And so they're trying to do that. So 8 o'clock, Birmingham and Miami in Open Cup, trying to determine the rest of the semi. We get the tail end of FC Dallas and all caps SC at Toyota. It is Open Cup at 9:30 at Rio Tinto with the RSL and LAG. You've got a friendly at 10 o'clock, Mexico and Guatemala at the Estadio Mazatlan. You've got Can Champ, Vancouver and Montreal. That's at BC Place. LAFC, and we talked about it last couple of days, anticipating an Open Cup-ish lineup tonight with Atlanta United in town. They practiced yesterday at UCLA. So get in your naps early is basically what we're saying, because pregame show should be 10 o'clock, kickoff 10:39. On Apple TV Plus with Mike and Jason. And sync your radios. You can sync your radio through the Odyssey app. You can do the away thing through the Odyssey app. It's about a 30-second lag, so you can pause your Apple TV and lock it in with Mike and Jason. That's how right now you can get around not having visiting teams. Go through the Odyssey app, size it up that way, lock it in, simulcast it there. So that's that's the tail end of the evening with Atlanta United and LAFC. So
we have some slight breaking news that may interest people. It's not like super breaking. Jude Bellingham official to Real Madrid for $103 million transfer fee.
Only $103 million?
Only
103. Mike is saying if the Messi story is true, September weekend with Atlanta United hosting Messi Saturday night, Falcons Packers Sunday, plus UGA is hosting South Carolina. So that's what you're staring at that weekend, plus backyard brawl. So it's just another average working weekend when it comes to September. Rich's point, and so let me bring this into the discussion as one of the last points for today. Rich, so we're going to have discussion about MLS still needs an aging superstar to garner attention, right? This is definitely some MLS 2.0 stuff.
If you have the opportunity to get the best player ever to come to your league, you do it. The reason why I think this is very different is that this is not every team relying on this.
Yeah.
This is not every team needing to go find. I mean, this is not New York City trying to sign Pirlo, Lampard, everyone that is just possibly a decent player who has name recognition. This is the best person, the best player who has played this game that we have seen coming to your league. Of course you do it. This isn't MLS 2.0. If anything, this is MLS 3.0, because you have the platform now to actually take advantage of this. This is not, hopefully, this is not about short-term growth, which a lot of that MLS 2.0 and 1.5 stuff was, right? The first DPs were about getting fans, but of that player. again, the goal now is how do you convert Messi fans into MLS fans? And I think finally MLS is at a position where they actually have the opportunity to take advantage of this player with Apple TV, with the better playing facilities that they have now, with the better social media recognition, with the better media recognition as a whole. This is an opportunity that we haven't had. On top of the fact that you have Messi coming, possibly what, 3 years before you host a World Cup.
Right.
It's just different. I understand what you're saying about, we need an aging superstar. But that is one on one team who happens to be the best player in the world right now versus every team trying to go find someone just for name recognition. Vastly different.
So we'll keep an eye on that today. If something obviously we'll be drifting in and out with I've got some high school stuff that I got to follow up on. I got some NPSL stuff I got to follow up on. Just don't do it during the conference call with Steve Cook as we get ready for Atlanta United 2, Philadelphia Union 2. Don't do that between 11 and 11:30 Eastern time. That's going to be on the network, by the way, Friday night from Chester, Pennsylvania. The Twos and the Philadelphia Union. I think it's 6:45 pregame, 7 o'clock, a little after kickoff at Chester, Pennsylvania. So, Bart, what else is going on at Soccer for USPOD and with you?
Well, we've got obviously Nations League next week, so we'll have hopefully an episode next week kind of previewing that. Look, we've got the Women's World Cup coming up. That's the most important thing that we're going to be looking at, especially in July. I don't know if you saw, but AO Atlanta will be hosting a massive watch party for that USA-Vietnam game on Friday, July 21st at 9 p.m. I will be there. Party starts at 7. And I've been told that there will actually be some musical entertainment going on at Wild Heaven before that. So if you want to even get there a little early, do that and enjoy the musical stylings of someone. I don't remember who. We'll announce that when I actually have that information. So that's what we'll be doing for AO Atlanta. Also trying to figure out how to host watch parties for 3 a.m. if they're even worth doing. Possibly going to team up with some other organizations in the area, some groups in Atlanta who do support women's soccer and women's sports in general to try to figure out if maybe it's just a joint venture. Yeah, we've got some stuff again next week, Nations League. So we'll have a show coming out kind of previewing that and more so asking the questions of what does this matter considering we have a substitute for the substitute,
Yeah.
It's like the substitute, the long-term sub had to step out. And so the sub across the hall now had to come over and watch the class. So we'll see how these guys perform. And not that it doesn't matter, but what level, what does this actually mean for the long term? What do we take from it?
Yep. Anthony Hudson taking a job in Qatar, and apparently now lower level seats for the supposed arrival of Messi in September now going for $350.
Yeah. And they are fully sold out. So, hey, if you're a season ticket holder and you want to cash in,
do it now or wait until the market continues and you have your confirmation. Follow your sources. That's the news of the day. Follow your sources, as we've gotten Bart in trouble for hanging out with us for an entire hour.
I was answering emails during it, so don't worry.
Okay, just checking. All right. So, Bart, you'll be back at it, obviously, once again next week for another round of reffing down here. All the other news, it's fit to print. And then if anything breaks, I know you're going to want to crash since you have golden ticket status anyway. Be well, my friend.
Y'all have a great one. Cheers.
As he goes and tries to figure out how he's going to do Backyard Brawl and Atlanta United all at the same time in September. Bart Keeler. It's always fun to have Bart hanging out. All right, so before we go, here's what's on the tube. Bien en Español has Copa Libertadores. Nacional Internacional at 6. River Plate Fluminense 8:30. Strongest and Sporting Cristal at 10. NWSL Challenge Cup, CBS Sports Network at 7:30. Gotham and Orlando. The Mexico-Guatemala friendlies on Tuda NA and Unimas. MLS Season Pass has the resumption of FCD and all caps SC, as well as LAFC in Atlanta at 10:30. BR Football YouTube has Open Cup out west with RSL and the Galaxy at 9:30. Golazo Network has Birmingham and Inter Miami at 8. ESPN Plus, La Liga Smartbank, Levante Albacete at 3, plus the 2 matches in the USL Championship. Charleston, Detroit at 7:30. Hailstorm and Richmond Kickers at 9. Paramount Plus, Europa Conference League Final West Ham hosting Fiorentina at West Ham and Fiorentina at 3 o'clock. Brasileiro, Cuiabá, and Corinthians at 8:30. Very, very busy day. Guys, thanks for hanging out for all of it. And as always, thanks for being a part of the show, as we always do. And so what we will do is we'll do it again tomorrow. We'll catch up with all of this. And once again, keep an eye out for breaking news. We might drop back in for another breaking news riff and see what we can do. So thanks again for hanging out with us here on SDH on a Wall Pass Wednesday. That was a hell of a morning. And it's just talking about the probability of one dude dropping by. So, well, once again, we'll be back at it tomorrow morning. Normal time, 9:05. We'll be back on Turner time tomorrow because I got to go to a conference call and get acquainted with Atlanta United, too, as they get ready for Philadelphia Union. So play it safe, everybody. Thanks for hanging out. Keep an eye on your notifications. If something happens, we might drop back in. So play it safe, everybody. Might see you in a bit. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow morning at 9:05. And since it is the end of the show, as always, play it safe, everybody. Mucho platial. It means I get to do this.